G'day everyone, Brian here. I'm back in the office for the first time after at least 12 weeks and it's good to be back in here. Not much of a backdrop, I know, but that's where the window and the light is, so that's what's coming towards me. You don't need to worry about that though, do you? Well, Jesus had his plans for today and they haven't gone quite the way he'd expected they would. And instead of spending the day with his disciples, he has ended up spending much of the day with crowds of people. And that day is coming to an end. And the people are starting to get a little hungry. Now, the disciples are aware of this. They're pretty perceptive blokes when things are obvious. And so they say to Jesus, "Look, Jesus, it's a remote place we're in. It's already very late. Send the people away so that they can go and to the surrounding countryside, the villages, and buy themselves something to eat." It's a perfectly reasonable request, isn't it? It's perfectly sensible. Jesus, here are these hungry people who have gathered around you. It's great that you've been able to teach them, but it's getting dark. It's getting late in the day. We better let them go so they can get something to eat because nobody's brought their food with them. Now, Jesus must have been aware of this. He surveyed the situation. Jesus, this great shepherd of the sheep. And what does he say? He says to his disciples, "You give them something to eat." You give them something to eat. Well, I can only imagine the horror that they would have felt when they heard Jesus say that. How can we possibly feed this many people? We don't have enough for ourselves, let alone trying to feed 5,000 men, plus the women and children who are here too. How could we possibly do that? And yet Jesus says, you give them something to eat. Now, there's much more to the story than just that, and I'll say more about that tomorrow. But don't miss this. Here is Jesus saying to his disciples, to his people, you give them something to eat. I think this might be something that the Christian church has lost a bit. Not lost entirely. There are many churches who are doing great things in helping to feed the poor in their neighbourhoods, in ways that you don't know, in ways that you'll never know because churches don't talk about it. But I think there might be ways in which individual Christians have been very happy to hand it over to someone else. And yet here are the words of Jesus to say, you give them something to eat. Now that can be an uncomfortable phrase when we start to think about, how do I do that? How do I do that in a way that's helpful? How do I do that in a way that will be a blessing and not create its own problems? Jesus doesn't seem to worry about that, does he? He just says, you give them something to eat. Maybe today you'll see someone who you can put that into action with. You give them something to eat. Maybe somebody needs to talk. Maybe somebody needs a drink. Maybe somebody needs a rug, a coat. You give them something. And do it in the name of Jesus. I hope you get the chance today to do something in the name of Jesus, to let your light shine so that they will praise your Father in heaven. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.